Today on BRStv Reef FAQs, we answer what are the easiest ways to raise the pH in a saltwater reef tank. Hi, I'm Ryan, your host of BRStv Reef FAQs. Today we're getting straight to it with the top 5 ways to get your tank's pH in order, meaning get as close to stable 8.3 as possible. First off, if your tank is anywhere between 7.8 and 8.3, pH will not be the reason you succeed or fail, so don't get too wrapped up in perfection. There are just coral growth and metabolic health benefits associated with being closer to 8.3 and why reefers shoot for it. Before we start on the 5, it should be shared that a vast majority of low pH issues are related to one of two things, either low alkalinity in the tank or high carbon dioxide in the air surrounding the tank itself. By definition, pH is a scale of acidity and ranks from 0 to 14. The reason that alkalinity and CO2 or carbon dioxide are the biggest factors in a reef tank's pH is, again, by definition, alkalinity refers to the capability of the water to neutralize acid. And the levels of carbon dioxide in the air has a direct causation to the amount of formation of carbonic acid there is in the tank. So the better the tank can neutralize acid with alkalinity and the lower the carbon dioxide in the air surrounding the tank, the higher the pH we can achieve in it. Okay, starting with the number 5 method of elevating your pH, maintain your tank's alkalinity properly. For a whole myriad of reasons, alkalinity is the number 1 parameter to check and monitor on a reef tank. More important than calcium, magnesium, pH, and arguably, even in some ways, salinity. For most reefers, we recommend a DKA to 8.5 because it's in a safe range which allows for some dosing or testing mistakes. Best option for raising alkalinity is just some bulk sodium bicarbonate dissolved in water and a reef calculator, which makes it easy to find the right dose. The only thing I would completely avoid is anything labeled pH buffer. Some have components of alkalinity which are not desirable in a reef tank and build up, or they're just sodium bicarbonate anyways, but a fish label makes them cost 10 times as much. Ongoing maintenance of alkalinity should be with a balanced approach to both calcium and alkalinity because they're consumed at the exact same rate in most tanks. That can be your favorite 2-part or even 1 parts like Tropic Marin's Carbocalcium or Alpha Reef, a calcium reactor or Kalkwasser. Those options cover 99% of how reefers maintain calcium and alkalinity in their tanks. On to number 4, which is closely related to that, use a calcium and alkalinity solution which is known for temporarily raising the pH of the tank on a daily basis. By far the most popular options are soda ash-based 2 parts and Kalkwasser or calcium hydroxide, all of which reduce the available carbon dioxide and in turn carbonic acid in the reef tank. Number 3, we move on to the solutions for excess carbon dioxide in the room the tank is in. This is directly the result of tightly sealed homes or rooms with lots of pets and people who breathe out carbon dioxide all day long. The easiest option is just open up a window for a few hours. If your tank's pH goes up, this is your issue. However, it really isn't viable to keep the windows open during the coldest or hottest months, so implementation of equipment like air exchangers are the best option for your home. You could find a way to vent some room air out and then replace it as well, but that can be more complex than it sounds to do frequently and effectively without significant heating and cooling costs or negative pressure in the house, which can cause issues with your water heater or furnace. This is where the number 2 best way comes in. Your protein skimmer has a tremendous amount of gas exchange and very often overcompensates the gas exchange happening on the surface of the water. So running a tube through the wall to pull fresh air from the outdoors to your skimmer will very often elevate the pH of the entire tank. Just make sure to not draw from a heavily polluted area or an area that gets lawn fertilizers or pesticides sucked into the intake. In fact, a bit of carbon on the intake might help with that. Alternatively, many reefers just scrub all the CO2 off right at the skimmer these days. There is media you can put in something like a BRS reactor, and the cartridge of media will scrub off all the CO2 prior to the skimmer, which will raise the pH of the tank, often dramatically so. This is somewhat dependent on the tank and turnover and how much air, water your skimmer processes, but most reefers will find the scrubber almost works too well and needs to be mixed at least with some ambient air, or the tank's pH might get too high. If you're as reef nerdy as some of us here at BRS, you can also use your tank's controller to peg the tank's pH at a very specific number by opening and closing an electronic solenoid based on the tank's pH, something I think a lot of reefers are going to start doing in the near future. There are even options to make it recirculating and save on the media. Okay, so what's the number 1 way to raise the pH of your tank? For me personally, that's a refugium. A properly designed and lit refugium with algae like chaetomorpha will rapidly consume excess carbon dioxide in the tank's water, effectively reduce carbonic acid, and raise the tank's pH. So why do I say it's best? Well, as long as some thought and effort is put into the design, it will work for everyone. It's natural, doesn't require buying ongoing media, performance is tunable by adjusting the light intensity or photo period, and the byproduct of this approach is the growing algae also reduces the nitrate and phosphate in the tank, which is one of the biggest issues for newer to intermediate tanks. We actually ran some prolonged experiments on various refugium light sources on both nutrient control as well as the ability to outcompete algae in the display. Certainly one of our more popular investigates, solving pH, undesirable nutrient, and algae issues with one solution is certainly attractive. Absolutely worth checking out. That's our top 5 pH solutions. We'll see you next Wednesday with the next batch of BRStv Reef FAQs.